Like, I'm a mom, I'm supposed to go be out there playing with my kid. I'm supposed to be out there feeding my kid. But why am I in the room? I'll look out the window lah. And then like, I'll think to myself like, is it better if I'm not here anymore? Yeah. When did you realize that something was wrong? So when I was 38 weeks pregnant, I noticed like a lump that was getting very obvious. That like when I asked my gynae face changed immediately, and that's when I knew something was wrong. At that point in time, it was suspected to be cancer, but then it wasn't confirmed yet. A day after giving birth, I did a biopsy, and subsequently the biopsy came out to be cancer, and that was how the diagnosis came about. I was a stage 2B cancer, so like my lump was relatively big in nature. It was about 5 cm. From my birth to like the diagnosis, I was very insistent on like wanting to breastfeed my kid, because I think like it was a very magical moment for me that like I was able to hold her in my arms and just to see that like, whoa, this baby that just came out a few minutes ago know how to latch. When the news came, I was actually in the midst of breastfeeding my baby, and the doctor had to say that like, sorry Lei Teng, it's confirmed that it's breast cancer. You have to stop breastfeeding your kid right away. My heart really dropped, and I was like, whoa, why is this happening to me? And then the next moment, my mom came to take like my kid away. So I think like it was very painful that like it's something that I always wanted, but like at the moment, my baby was just taken away from me like that. Yeah, so it was very painful lah. Yeah. Yeah, sorry. With every doctor appointment, it's like new findings and new news. So the first hit was when they told me that like, you can't breastfeed. And then on the very next appointment, my breast surgeon told me like, you have to go on menopause. And then with that, the next moment, I was told, you might not be able to conceive in the future. My entire world just crashed. I started crying, and like it continued for like the entire week, because I felt very bad for my husband actually. We had a lot of plans, we have a lot of ambition, and we finally got a very big blessing, which is my first kid, Gemma. And the next moment, is Gemma gonna be my last kid? Like, why can't I have kids anymore? What were some of the worst thoughts you had? I think the pressure on me was emotionally and physically wise, because I had to go for blood tests, and like chemotherapy also includes a lot of like injections, like surgery. And I think it was a lonely journey, because as much as I would tell my family that like, I'm struggling with my treatment, as many people would have who has been this journey, they would have said that like, unless you're a survivor, you might not really fully understand like what it feels. Cancers are split into whether it's hormone receptive or non-hormone receptive, and mine was hormone receptive. So I had to stop my hormones and had to be on medication to like sort of put a pause to my hormones for the next 5 years. People ask me like, hey, when are you gonna have a second kid? And then I'm like, 5 years later? But in my head, I'm like, it's not that I don't want, but it's I can't. I think like during the treatment, there was a lot of times that I was alone in the room because I had no energy at all, and I needed time to rest. And I felt really very bad for my kid. Like, I'm a mom, I'm supposed to go be out there playing with my kid. I'm supposed to be out there feeding my kid. But why am I in the room? It's very unfortunate that like, I will look out the window lah, and then like, I'll think to myself like, is it better if I'm not here anymore? Yeah. So these were actually like a lot of thoughts that come into my mind. And at the same time, like being a new mom is also very tough. Like there's a lot of things that you need to learn, and the bell curve is really, really very steep. All these roles that I'm taking out, as much as people say that like, you just focus on your health, I think it's a personal expectation. There was a point in time that like, it became so stressful for me that like on the street, there's like families, and then like they're walking, and like I see this family with like 4 kids, And I turn around and I ask my husband, I say like, you know, like, what if I don't have this cancer? Like, do you think that we'll be like that? Like having 4 kids, walking around the mud, and then like being happy and all. Like, I'm fighting these evil thoughts on a day-to-day basis. On the outside, like, you know, you have to go on with life, you have to be cheerful and all. But there will come to a time that like you're all alone. With all that thoughts, it will spiral lah. Yeah, it will spiral. So coming to peace with myself, I think it will take time, and maybe the time might not come also. Yeah. Do you feel less of a mother and a woman? I would say definitely yes. I was so weak from the treatment, right? After carrying my baby for like 5 minutes like that, I will be very, very tired already. Like my entire body will feel that like, whoa, my body just really wanted to give up. But undergoing chemo also meant that like you're a patient. And like being a patient, being sick, you know that like there's a lot of people around you that say that like, you know, I do it, let me do it, like you go and rest. But that made me feel like even worse, because now you're reminding me like I'm not able to do it even more. In my memory, it was a lot of guilt that I think I will hold it for the rest of my life. Yeah, and guilt is something that doesn't really go away with time also. So now my daughter is 2 and she's getting very, very active. She will crawl over like my surgical wound, and it is really very painful that I had to tell her that like, you know, Gemma, stop it, mommy is in pain. So that I had to resort to showing her my pot and say that, you know, mommy has this thing, do you want to touch it? And I felt very bad, because on the same day, like, she started saying sorry mommy, and then she kept sighing the pot. But that's something that she don't have to apologize. Even sometimes when I carry her up and down, like to like, you know, like the fei gao gao, I confess sometimes that it's just very uncomfortable and very painful. It really scares me a lot that like, you know, I really pretty much live day by day. That like every day I told myself that, you know, when my daughter is there, my daughter will be a priority. I can pick her up from school, I can cook for her, I can spend time with her and bring her out. So like, I think that for me is already a sufficient mother when you give your daughter the attention that they needed. I might not be the best mother, but being a good mother is something that is self-defined. Have you ever imagined a future in which your daughter grows up in your absence? I would say I did. I think at the start, like, you know, like, as much as people say that, like, you know, in stage 2 cancer, yeah, you are lucky that early, then like you're able to like remove it and all. Being a survivor also meant that I have this always have this thought in my head that, you know, when is the relapse gonna come? Whenever like maybe like my chest feel a sensation, like maybe just like a, and then I'm like, oh, is it like, it's coming back? Is it coming back? I won't say it gets better, but you just learn how to manage it better. And actually my biggest dream in life, don't make me sound a bit ridiculous, it's really just to watch my daughter grow up and then like going over with my husband. Some of the milestones that I crossed with her is her taking her first steps. And then like now she is always saying, Papa is mine. Yeah. So like she's a very cute stage now that like, well, you know, like I'm so lucky that, you know, I'm still alive right now. So like I should like continue to live on well. And then like not think about all these like negative thoughts. So I kept like pushing myself to like become better, become healthier. I think without this pregnancy and without her, I wouldn't have detected this, you know, like this breast cancer. So then like she really has been like my savior, and she has been the biggest blessing in the family. Yeah, she has brought so much joy to the family that like I really have no regrets going through this entire journey with her. And it's been quite some time since like I completed my treatment, about a year. So I was very lucky that like she was very young when I had to undergo everything. Now that she's older and my body is getting healthier, I was able to do whatever that I wanted to do with her. Like traveling overseas, yeah, bring her to go like to play and all, yeah. Actually throughout the entire journey, right, it was a lot of emotion suppression. I wasn't able to process all the emotions that I was feeling because all I needed to do was to stay strong. And that was when I realized that, sometimes it's okay to lean at your family. You don't have to be by yourself. Now I realize that actually the people around me are like really a blessing in my life. And as much as I should cherish them, I should also start to show them love and concern. And that is something that I've been practicing a lot now. Yeah. Gemma, come. So this is my daughter Gemma. She's 2 years old now. Yeah. She's my big eye daughter. Okay, we read together. What do you want to say to your daughter? I think I wish for Gemma to grow up healthily and just be happy in whatever she do. Yeah. I think that's my greatest wish for. And of course in the future, I want to watch her graduate from uni, start her work, and really in whatever she do, she'll always become my pride. So I just want to be there for her. Yeah. Okay, mommy a kiss. And she wants to pick up me. Pika.
Hi there, thanks for watching this episode of Can Ask Me. I hope the Teng story will be able to inspire and provide some sort of emotional support for people with similar experiences. If there are any other stories or topics that you would like us to cover, do let us know in the comments below.